Dr. Miriam Pineles, welcome to Pod by Pen.
Thank you so much, Panina. It's great to be here.
It's really a huge honor having you. Guys, you don't know. This is my doctor.
Okay.
No, but seriously, Miriam is a doctor of acupuncture and Chinese medicine. She's an herbalist. And I'm actually one of her patients. So I don't know if this is like ethically cool, but that's fine.
If you say it, it's okay.
If I say it is, okay. And I took a course by you this past summer that I thought was so amazing and so different. And I feel like you just have such a unique way of looking at the world. And I love that you were able to weave Torah into that. And so I really wanted to have you on here to talk about parenting through the elements, and also just a little bit about your background and acupuncture, alternative medicine. I feel like the Jewish community has recently discovered alternative medicine in a lot of ways, or has become more comfortable with it. And I think that's amazing.
Yeah, it's great. It's great to watch the evolution.
Yeah. How did you get into this? Like, what's your background? Where are you from? Give them a little backdrop on you, even though I already know the answer.
Okay. So I grew up in Far Rockaway, Five Towns, and I went to TAG and to HAFTR. And my journey to Chinese medicine school is really interesting, and there's a lot of different pieces. But basically, I went from high school straight to college, to University of Penn. I studied psychology.
Oh, wow.
Thought I was going to be a therapist. I wanted to help people. I knew already from a young age I wanted to help people, and I thought I'd be a therapist. And by the end of my time there, I was having like a lot of self work, self exploration. I didn't go to seminary.
Right.
I was supposed to. My teachers wanted me to. And I got into college early and decided to go there. So by the end of college, I was ready to explore my soul again. I was going to Chabad by the end every Friday night. And I took a year and 3 months at Neve Yerushalayim.
Oh, wow. That's so nice.
Yeah, it was amazing. And I got time to really dig deep and learn Torah the way I knew it existed, but never had accessed. In my time in Israel, I was meeting holistic doctors because So I was working through health challenges myself since my adolescence.
Okay.
So I was already seeing holistic practitioners in high school and college, and so I was always looking for help, for resources. So in Israel, I was meeting holistic doctors there and learning a lot about holistic nutrition, and that combined with Torah and reading Rabbi Nachman set me up so that when I went back to New York to what I thought would be a graduate program in psychology, my mind was already opened for Chinese medicine. My friend was having acupuncture for morning sickness, and she said, "Miriam, try it. I think you'll love it. I think it'll help you." And I went. I had a visit. I fell in love immediately. Just the whole experience of being listened to very seriously.
Yeah.
Maybe you have that experience by a Chinese medicine practitioner. Your first visit is usually at least a 2-hour visit where your whole self is listened to and taken into serious consideration. And I was very moved by that.
Yeah.
And
it's definitely unusual in today's world.
In today's medical world. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, and
that's how I got there. I applied to Chinese medical school that week.
Wow.
I was.
How long
hooked.
does that take?
Our schooling is at least 4 years.
Wow.
I did 6.
Wow, that's amazing. And I mean, I know from experience, just it's such a different feeling than going to a medical doctor. And this is not to say that you should not see a medical doctor. I just think that it's so amazing. And like, I literally could just give you an example. I was just sick and I came to you because I literally went to a hospital and they were like, "Oh, like, what about a flu vaccine? And, maybe you have a virus. You could just go home and sit it out." And I was really not okay. And I just think it's so incredible. And I remember just telling you recently that acupuncture is so fascinating to me because I always look at the charts in your office, and it's wild how you practice on everybody, and we all have the same anatomy and the same points. And I just think that's so mind-blowing how it doesn't differentiate.
I loved when you said that. You opened my eyes.
It was,
yeah.
I don't know. I guess I spent a lot of time staring at the map on your wall in your office, but I just thought that was so amazing. And then when I saw that you were offering this class on parenting, I was like, okay, what does Chinese medicine have to do with parenting? And one of my friends was like, just come, it'll be fine. You'll figure it out. You'll see. Like, I can't explain it to you. You just have to come and like hear it, and then you'll understand.
Yeah.
So how did those two end up connecting, and like, where does that come from?
The five element theory is a core foundation of Chinese medicine. It was written about thousands of years ago. It happens to also be the core foundation of Hasidus and Kabbalah, but it's 4 elements. And so 5 elements there's many tracks to Chinese medicine. So the 5 element theory is something that I went very deep into. Not every student will, but the schools that I went to led me down the path of really getting very deep into the elements. And I was practicing maybe like, I don't know, maybe over 10 years when on a personal level, I started going through many shifts with my own child. And I also started treating a lot of parents who were having their own struggles with their children moving through and healing from trauma. And I noticed that if you know the elements and you know the dominant element of your child, you can better relate to them, better connect to them. And when there's more connection, there's more safety. When there's more safety, there's so much healing that can happen. And I felt very strongly that if parents could see what I see in people, read their child, read the behavior through the lens that is really truth and MS, they'll be less triggered by their kids. They'll understand their kids better. They'll know how to respond to the particular need of that child. And I felt very strongly about it because I'm in the world of healing, and I see people really suffering. And I just know if they could see what I see, it gets much easier. And so I created the course. I wanted people to have this information.
I think it's really wild because I think so many young mothers, especially, I feel, because that's the stage of life that I'm in, feel like we're doing something wrong, or that maybe there is something wrong with our child. And I think that's a big message that we're receiving also. Because a lot of times I know from my friends and, you know, people around me, they'll tell me, oh, this therapist said that this is what's wrong with him or her, or this school said that he is too wild or too troublesome, etc. And I think those are a lot of the messages we're receiving. And then in turn, you start to think to yourself, okay, what's wrong and how do I fix it?
Yes.
And I feel like the word fix is just so... it's painful when it comes to your own child because, you know, when they're born, you just look at them and think, okay, well, you're perfect. Until the outside world started telling me maybe you weren't so perfect.
Right. Well said. Not only and the thing is and here's the problem also is that they're only pointing out the challenge, right? So we know in the elements that there's the gift of a particular element and the challenge of that element, right? So for example, a wood element child, they're going to be, think of a tree, tall, an oak tree, strong, upright, bold, makes a statement, right? A person with a dominant wood element is going to be strong, assertive, take up space, and changing a lot.
I have some wood.
Yeah. It's so fun to know the elements. Now, that same child, that same element, same person, because of the associations of wood, is going to struggle with anger, is going to shout, is going to be assertive, where depending on the lens you're looking at, someone would call that chutzpahdik, disrespectful.
I definitely got that a lot as a kid.
Yes, I'm sure.
Yeah. Especially in school.
when in reality, most of the time you probably weren't. You were probably, unless you had to be,
right?
Because you weren't seen or you weren't in an environment that was supporting you.
Right.
But these kids get really mislabeled and put into a box of disrespectful behavioral issues. And there might be those things. But if we're not seeing the whole child, if we're not seeing that this is their nature, they're always going to be like this.
Yeah.
And instead of punishing them and labeling them, medicating, and not that I'm against medication completely, but we're doing a disservice because that child could, God forbid, grow up with shame. There's something wrong with me. Right. I can't be like everyone else. Instead of letting them know, you've got wood. This is going to be your challenge. It's okay to take up space. It's okay to speak your voice, but we're going to guide that.
Right.
And
That's
help you do
work
that.
Of being a parent.
That's the work of being a parent. Yes. It's the work of being a parent and being a teacher.
Because I think we need to explain to everybody what the elements are.
Okay.
And just kind of like a 1-sentence overview of how you can describe, even though I know each one is so deep, and that's why you literally have a 6-week class on it or more.
Yeah. I like to do
just
it
like
in
a
12.
General overview. Just a general overview to give people an idea of how those elements are split up.
Okay. So in Chinese medicine, we work with 5 elements: water, wood, fire, earth, and metal. Okay. Just because at some point you mentioned the Torah piece. For our viewers, the Torah speaks of 4 elements: water, fire, earth, and air. And
it speaks of the elements in terms of people and personality?
It speaks of it in terms of personality, mitos, character attributes. So you mentioned to us, I remember, that it also correlates with the time of year. Yeah.
So it's really all one cycle. We're basically living in a cycle within a cycle within a cycle. Yes. The cycle of the year, the cycle of ourselves.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's kind of like Inception.
I don't think I saw that.
No, it's like a dream within a dream.
Okay.
It's like the same thing. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot. But the Alter Rebbe does speak about it in the Tanya. The first Alter Rebbe speaks about the 4 elements as related to character attributes. So he relates fire to anger and conceit, earth to melancholy, water to pleasure seeking, and air to speech. So Chinese add the 5th, which is wood. And I keep that in my course because it's very important. It helps us really understand the body and personality. So yeah, it's spoken about in Torah.
That's really cool. And are we born this way? Like someone is born with their elements, one stronger than the other? Are we born balanced? These are all great questions.
Great questions. Yeah, these are great questions. So we all have so I'll backtrack it 1 second more, is that everything in the universe is comprised of these elements. And the Rambam wrote this. He said, everything in the physical universe, anything you see in the world is made up of these elements. They are the core ingredients. So too in a human body and a person's personality and attributes, it's made up of all these elements. So we all have all of them. But according to the Chinese medicine theory, each of us has 1 or 2 dominant elements. And that means you're going to have more of that element, those attributes, that nature it's going to be more of you. And it can be really helpful to understanding yourself, understanding your kids, so that, again, you understand things more instead of being reactive and triggered.
Yeah, I mean, it's all about controlling your reaction, essentially.
Yes.
Which I think is like, honestly, I live by that because I truly believe that you control your response to everything.
Yes.
I mean, also based on your elements,
you
how
do.
you respond.
Yeah. And you have to work on that. So some people, depending on their element, need to really work on their reactivity and be able to respond. And that's why I created this course. I wanted people to have the information. When you have the information,
right, it's like
then
a light bulb goes off.
You control your heart and your emotional reactions to things.
Yeah.
So when my daughter says something to me in a wood way, assertive, sharp, clear, and direct, depending on where I'm holding, I could perceive that as an attack.
Right.
Chutzpahdik, right? The way you were like. But if I zoom out and I'm in a regulated state, she's actually just being incredibly clear with her needs.
Right. I think the part for me that I really loved was when we discussed, let's say, you know, your child has dominant, I'm just giving an example. I'll give an example of my own kids. My daughter is probably very similar to me, which is probably why we are always butting heads, which is, I would say, wood and fire.
Yeah.
I think we recognize that we're both very similar in that aspect. And my husband always says that when he watches us interacting, it's like the same person fighting with itself or being happy with itself. It doesn't have to be fighting. But I think for me, the best part of learning it like through this lens was saying, okay, what's out of balance and how to get it back in balance. That was the best part. Mostly because I guess my personality is to try and fix, which I think a lot of people end up in that mode, but it really is my personality. I'm always like looking for something I can do to make it better, make it different, change it, whatever we're, you know, discussing. But I think it's really interesting because when you say something is out of balance, and how do we rebalance?
Right. Right. So you said, are we born balanced? Are we balanced?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think so. I think we're always working towards balance.
Right.
It's never ending.
Great. Oh gosh. It's a lot of work.
The elements. So here's, it's so cool. Great question. The elements are actually called the 5 movements. If the Chinese, it's called Wu Xing, which means 5 movements, pointing to that life is forever moving. We are forever growing and changing. I think what I'm learning in life is we're always working and living towards into more and more balance, I think.
Yeah. I feel that as I get older.
Mm-hmm.
You just feel more in balance as you get older and like learn more about yourself.
Right. And what works for you.
Thing.
Yeah. What works for you, what doesn't.
It's basically like using the perfect metaphor to grow. Like the elements are like a metaphor in a lot of ways, even though they're real.
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't know if we're giving our children enough grace to grow.
We try. And
shift and come into their balance. So remember the chart, the metal element, which is that elder part of us, that wisdom, the one who's getting it, who knows what to do, knows how to act, that doesn't come till so much later in life. And I'll speak for myself also, but we expect them to know it somehow.
Right. When really it's our whole job. And it's so interesting because I feel like you can have kids who are like completely different elements. And I remember like talking with you guys about it and then thinking to myself, oh my gosh, I am living with like 4 sets of completely different combinations.
Yeah.
And then one that's exactly like me. So it's just wild. And it's honestly, it's hard. It's like a little overwhelming almost because you realize every child needs such a different style of parenting almost that, and it's so individual, and we all are trying to, get through a day when they're young. And, as they become teenagers, it just gets crazier and crazier.
Yeah.
But it's so wild to think how every child needs something so different within a family.
Yeah.
And I do think in 2025, we're a lot better. I think like we're all learning and like we've all come a long way and we've all been like so open and, everybody,
thank God,
is into that. But I think it's, it just highlights how challenging parenting really is.
Yes. What big work it is.
Yeah. But also I feel like I'm a different person because of it. And that's what I need. So
it expands us.
Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, it could feel overwhelming. I'm sure maybe in the beginning of the course, it was like, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Right. But doesn't it also give allow us to give our kids more respect.
Yeah,
more
because you give them a
understanding.
lot more grace once you realize, okay,
Yeah.
this is what's going on the inside. And in a lot of ways, I think I also felt maybe a little guilty because you think back to different times when maybe you were harder on them
Mhm. Of course.
or, you know, going through something with them and you're like, oh, okay, like I was just trying to contain you and put you in a box and, you know, make sure you're being good and listening when really it's not like that.
Right. They needed a hug, or
Yeah.
right in that moment. Me too. I mean, that's
Or they needed to be able to express and be free a little
Yeah.
within, you know,
yeah,
normal range.
yeah, yeah. And
And it's hard to let go of that.
yes, that's the self work, right?
Right.
As the parent, and it can be very hard to let go of that
Yeah.
control piece and allowing them to express their elements, and then to learn how to work with that. And I can tell you, for years, I'm forever working on it. It's daily work.
Right.
I have to check myself all the time.
Do you feel like you know your element? Like, what's your strongest element that you feel in yourself?
Oh my gosh. I used to think I was such a strong water,
Okay.
but I'm learning I'm much more earth.
And
I
what are the
realized-
differences between those two elements?
So the water type, speaking of dissociations, right? The water, I'll take you through a few of them.
Yeah.
Water is associated with winter. And then it's associated in the body, it's associated with most things from the waist down: the reproductive organs, the bladder, the kidneys, the legs, the hips, the brain, the nervous system. So the depths, water underneath, right? Big association to Torah also. So these kids we talked about in class are like sometimes living in the water. Like they could be diagnosed with ADHD, with inattention, like just living under,
Floating around.
floating, like beating, right? Marching to the beat of their own drum.
Distracted.
Taking things in, absorbing things very easily, stimuli, very could be hypersensitive, so much, right? So based on a lot of my life experience, my physiology, and my medical symptoms, I really lived my life as a water. I thought I was like really swimming in water.
I lived as a water.
And as I'm moving through my own life, I'm noticing, whoa, there's a huge earth piece, right? So the earth element is associated with we call it late summer, August time. In the body, it's associated with the digestive organs,
Okay.
primarily the spleen and stomach. And the earth, think about the earth, Mother Earth we walk on. It's associated with more stability. You could depend on an earth person. Earth people are nurturing and caretakers. They like to cook, and they could be foodies. And these are the kids who are a little more, we're going to say, easy. Like they're easier to just listen. They'll follow. They'll want to be with you in the kitchen. They'll help you take your groceries out of the car, right? Versus the water child is like, what groceries? Like,
You left and came back?
what? Or
it's
the
funny
child.
because when you talk about, let's say, earth, water, as soon as you start describing that type of person, I can think of 4 or 5 people for each one.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow, that's so strong. Like, I know people exactly like what you're describing.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so funny. Listen, it can be fun and funny. And it's also really serious.
Yeah.
Because if you were to not know, and this is what happens, if you don't realize what the water child is, and they're not helping you like your earth kids, and they can just get yelled at and beat up and like completely unseen. And it's so hard because they don't want to be doing the wrong thing. They really don't.
Yeah. What about, let's talk about fire, air.
Go through. Okay. So
We just did water and we did earth.
So the fire child is associated with summertime. And in the body, this is associated with the heart. The pericardium wraps around the heart, the small intestine, and a Chinese organ called the sanjiao, which is connected which in the West we think could be the lymphatic system. So it's lymphatics and maybe the cardiovascular system. The emotions of this element is going to be joy or lack of joy. The water children were fear and courage, dominant emotions. Earth people are worriers and maybe tend towards sadness. The fire people are about joy, fun, or the lack of it. This child personality is really like think of a flame, dancing, singing, likes to be in front of the camera, loves shiny things. We talked about in class, right? The girls even the boys will accessorize, really care about how they show up in the world. And the imbalance of that would be, you wouldn't see those things. You would see flat. You wouldn't see life. It was flatline.
I feel like with fire, do they go very quickly from
yes,
like exuberance to nothing?
Yes. Yeah. Like a flame, like can go out.
It makes me think of some of my kids.
Could be so easily bored. You bought them a new toy and they're done in like 15 minutes with it.
Right. And then they want the next one.
And you're so frustrated. You get frustrated with them, right? But it's their nature. They're just done. You know, we got to work. Like those fire kids, you're constantly looking for the next thing for them.
Yeah.
Some of them. Yeah.
No, for sure mine.
Okay. I mean, that's what it's like, mind-boggling. It's like they're done with something. Like, and I didn't learn that till later, because if you earth waters, we're like good with the same thing. Like, we don't need to change our diets, our fashion styles. Like, we're just steady. We coast. Yeah. Fires will change season to season. Like, my daughter will change her bedding with the season.
Wow.
And it's like, like the design, the colors.
Wow.
Yeah. And she's like, what do you mean? Like, of course.
Naturally.
And I would never do that for years.
Right. Okay, let's talk about air.
So the air, so in Torah we call it air, but in Chinese medicine it's metal. For reasons. The metal child, so we'll call it the metal child. So this is associated with autumn. All right, on the Jewish cycle, it's El Tishrei time. In the body, it's the lung and the large intestine. In the life cycle, it's the elder year. It's like when you're considered the older years. And this person, the metal child, we thought might have been the most challenging in class. They can be perfectionists,
right?
Controlling.
Yeah.
But on the flip side, they're very discerning also. And they have a real sense of justice, right? So this is a child who's like, but how come she's going to bed earlier? Like, we're the same age, like whatever, like
basically
they're
all
on
children
you.
Have metal.
What?
I said, so all kids have metal.
Right. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. So it could be judgmental in its imbalance, very judgmental, or it could be discerning and very, like, also very clear. And this is the element of parenting. So in air, in Torah, this is speech. The lungs are the first organ to touch the air. So in the Chinese, it's a very precious organ, an element. And it's the element of guiding, of parenting. But remember, we learned metal. It can be expansive and contracting, like the lungs. So with our parenting, our guiding in life, we have to be flexible, opening and closing. Our problem is we get very constricted, like a metal scissor, and we like, this is the way.
I think that's actually, learning about metal made me think, okay, I'm all metal. But I think it was also conditioning in a lot of ways. Like, I almost conditioned myself into metal because you feel so frozen. I don't know what's right, which one to react to, how to react, etc. And I think it also is really interesting because it explains how you could say one thing to one of your children and then the other one can overhear it and, let's say, think you're talking to them and have a completely different reaction.
Yeah.
And I just had this recently.
That's cool.
Where one of my kids overheard me say something to another one who was like, okay. And,
what element was the one who said that? Do you know?
If I had to say, he is a little bit of metal and I want to say not air, maybe a little earth.
Yeah. That's what I thought.
Yeah.
Because when they're like,
And
okay.
he was like very taken aback. He was like, what? And I was like, I'm not talking to you. And it was like making me think, it's so interesting. I literally have to change my tone of voice and diction to speak to my different kids in order for them to hear me.
It's so cool that you got that.
But it also like took time, meaning like I took this course and I learned about the elements, and I feel like it took time for it to like settle in my brain. And then you start to see it as life is happening. You start seeing it and you start like applying it, and you're like, oh, okay.
You watch how they react or respond. And then
I mean, it also makes you think like, okay, I have so much work to do, you know, in terms of like learning and changing and like figuring out what works for each kid. Like, you know, and like there are some times where I'm like, oh, I just don't want to do that. Like, I'm just so tired. And like, I have so much going on and work and school and whatever. But in like the slow days, you know.
Yeah, where you work on it, it really becomes a part of us, I think.
Yeah. Like once you hear it, you can't unhear it. And then you start seeing it everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I'm really glad you mentioned that, because it's not a class where you're just taking in information.
Right.
You learned the elements, and then you learned how to use your voice and probably your body language too, the tone of your voice, how long your sentences with certain kids.
I think it's also a little bit validating, because sometimes you can think to yourself, I literally have to whisper and talk sweetly to one kid, and then the other one will not hear me unless I'm yelling up the stairs and, you know, saying, please do X, Y, and Z, you know? And it's like validating in a way, because sometimes you think like, okay, is there something wrong with me? Is there something wrong with my child? Kid. Like, you know, you start thinking all these things. And really, once you learn this, you're like, no, like they just need it. They need it communicated in the way that they can receive it. Yes. And that's it.
Yes.
Yeah. It's very cool.
Mm-hmm.
Highly recommend.
It's so beautiful. And
what was our last? We didn't speak about the last element.
Wood.
Wood
is associating with the springtime and the toddler years. In the body, it's the liver and gallbladder organs, and any symptoms will be like from the neck up. So people with neck pain, migraines, this is the element you want to look at. And like we said, this element in the Jewish cycle, it'll be the time of Nisan, like this growth, expansion, Yetziat Mitzrayim.
Oh, wow.
It's very cool how it all connects.
Works out, yeah.
And this kid, again, so in Chinese medicine, we call this the liver, primarily the Army General. So the Army General. What's an Army General? In charge. Strong.
Large and in charge.
Clear, makes demands.
Yeah.
Like sometimes I feel like when wood people talk to me, that's like, I'm being demanded. It's like, and when it's come from a child, again, it could feel like disrespect, right, but they're just being themselves.
Yeah. No, it's really hard. Like, and I think about the fact that, and it's really, I think also because I have a daughter we're the same. I think that's when I realized like, okay, so now that I know that we're the same and we have the same dominant elements, like I almost could like relax a little bit, because I was like, oh no, like I think now I get you a little more. It's never going to be perfect, because I think it's just always learning, and every person is so individual. But what I used to think was like, oh my gosh, out of control and like maybe a little disrespectful and like, you know, asking so many questions and so like annoying sometimes. Exhausting. Like we would literally be like, oh my gosh, you're being so annoying. And now I just look at her, I guess it's just like a softer lens.
It's incredible. Such a gift.
Yeah. And I hope it continues.
That you're her mother.
Right. We try.
Yeah. And we give them the space to be themselves, because, and this is so important, Penina, because this is what I see medically. When people were repressed.
Right.
Emotionally, in their personalities and who they were, what they went to, it's going to have an impact on the body. Right. So my expression of self is the liver organ. When that's constrained or controlled too much, it's going to show up as a physical symptom. It could show up in emotional challenges. And again, that's the reason I teach it, is because we can prevent a lot of disease, I believe, with this.
Wow. That's really amazing.
Yeah.
It's really interesting. I feel like with acupuncture, it's considered an alternative medicine, right? You know, in
the West.
In the US,
Mm-hmm.
right? I wonder how many people that come to you are exhibiting, like, let's say just like dysregulation versus something is, you know, actually wrong in the body. And like, is it always connected, do you find? Because I feel like now actually a big topic that I've been seeing on a lot of different wellness podcasts and, you know, people who speak about these topics is they're saying nervous system regulation is everything.
Yes.
And this is like, it's as if they just discovered it, by the way. It's like, I feel like in the last 6 months, that's all I've been seeing. You know, forget fad diets and, you know, talk therapy and all these different things. People are like nervous system regulation, period. And I feel like, do majority of your patients come in and you're like, this is a lot of emotional nervous system stuff?
Absolutely.
Do you feel like it's more than in past years? From when you started?
I would say yes.
Okay.
I would say yes. Although I remember when I was feeling pulses even like 8 years ago. Yeah. I would say I'm noticing it more. I'm more aware that it is
Right.
The pulses that I feel, no matter what symptom they're coming in with, the pulse is showing nervous system imbalance. Absolutely.
Wow.
And it's rare. One time in my life, I felt a balanced pulse, a healthy
One time?
balance. One time.
Were they super calm and like chill?
They were young.
They were young.
They were like a young.
They were just young. That's really
They were
funny.
young. But yeah, most of the time, no matter the symptom, whether it's a hormonal imbalance, a migraine, neck pain, allergies, there's often nervous system dysregulation that needs support while we're working on the symptoms.
Right.
And that's Chinese medicine. It's the beauty of it. It's called a root branch medicine. We treat the root cause of disease, that nervous system dysregulation, while also treating the branch, how it showed up in the person, a migraine, a stomach ache, so on.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I feel like this is interesting also, especially in the Jewish community. I feel like what I was saying earlier is that we've come a long way in terms of not just immediately turning to only medical, but also other things like somatic therapies and acupuncture, etc. Do you feel like when you started, was it just a lot more uncommon for you to have Jewish religious patients?
Yeah. So I think I remember I got guided by a mentor of mine. So I graduated in 2009, and a mentor of mine said to me, she said she didn't think the community was ready.
Right.
And that people weren't as open. And I kind of observed that. And I decided to open my practice in Manhattan. That's where I trained. I felt I could get a large population. And that's where I started. And I think at the time it was mostly not Jewish. But I remember 5-6 years in, it started to shift. I was seeing more people from the Orthodox community.
Wow.
And now I move my practice into the Orthodox community, and that's everything. Yeah.
Wow. That's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like it's interesting because I came to you from my friend, and it's actually like a funny story. I had just met her and I was at her house. This is a good story. I was at her house. This is 6 or 7 years ago. Maybe like 6 years ago, if I think about it.
Yeah, that's when it was.
And she was struggling to get pregnant. And she was sitting outside her house with this little stick of moxa. And she was rubbing it on her body. And there was smoke coming out of it. And I'm looking at her like, what is going on? What is that? Who is this crazy girl? I'm scared. What is that on fire? And she was like, no, it's moxa.
Yeah,
I'm like, why are you saying that like I should know what that is? And she was like, oh, it's, for acupuncture because I'm trying to get pregnant. And I'm just looking at her like, there's no way. Like, there's no way that that's what's going to do it. And I mean, thank God she did have kids after that.
Yeah.
And I just think that it's so amazing and mind-blowing. And then eventually I came to you myself, and I feel like I ended up coming to you more out of like, I like struggle with a lot of anxiety. And so I'm constantly dysregulated, always. But then further than that, I really started to just feel like it's just such a gentle kind of experience and kind of medicine that I just really would rather turn to that than to medical a lot of times, because it just feels so harsh and like so overwhelming when you think of the medical system. You're like, which doctor am I going to call? What are they going to want from me? It's just an overwhelming system in general. And this just felt so like natural and calm, and like, I think also it's your demeanor is like super calm and like chill. Were you always like this?
I get that question a lot.
Because like you're so like zen.
I don't think I came into the world this way. I think I trained it. Like I became this through my work, and I made a decision. I made a decision early on in my life.
Right.
Where I was surrounded, like there were like very anxious people in my life, and I had this moment of like, I will not be this.
Wow, that's
and I worked on it. And it's constant work. Yeah, constant work.
And like for me, let's say, it's interesting because now I see how it works with like nervous system or anxiety, or I feel like with nervous system, you exhibit a lot of physical symptoms.
Yes.
And I feel like as I get older, I'm so aware of those symptoms and like of my body. I'm like, oh, I know exactly what this is now. And it just, as I get older, I see that.
That's good. Yeah. That's calming in itself, the awareness.
Right.
And if we go back to the story you shared earlier, if it's okay.
Yeah.
When you went to the hospital.
Yeah.
Very unwell.
Yeah.
And they said, you're fine.
They were like, well, your flu came back negative and you don't have any, bacterial infections. And so you're probably just experiencing some sort of post-viral symptoms. And I was like, I'm literally out of breath. I can't even walk to my car. And it was like so real. And I was like, couldn't eat, nausea. Like I was like physically not able to do anything.
Right.
I had no energy. And like, I have kids and a family. And I was just thinking about how, there are people who have, chronic pain and things of that nature. And when I was literally sick for 2 straight weeks like that, that's what I was thinking about. I was thinking about people who have it all the time. And I was like, I hope they're going to acupuncture.
Yeah, because what happened, right? You got the clearance from them, which is good, right?
Right. Like, I'm like, okay, nothing is dire. I'm not dying.
Yeah.
However, I also can't get out of bed.
Yeah. Then you came in and you were like, they said nothing's wrong. And I'm looking at you and I'm like, there's a lot.
No, there's a lot wrong in here.
Right? So even if there's no diagnosis and the blood tests come out clear, the body's having an experience and it can be tended and it can be calmed and it can be helped.
And it's funny because when I think to when I was younger, and this actually just came up for me recently, I remember I went through a period of time when I was like I would say preteen years, when I was nervous about something or anxious about something, I would exhibit physical symptoms where like my stomach would hurt, or, vomiting or headaches or things of that nature. And a lot of times, as my parents were doing the best they can, they were like, oh my gosh, what's going on? Are you okay? And I was like doubled over, stomach pain. They would take me to the doctor. Nothing's wrong. And eventually my mom was like, okay, maybe it's just like a little bit of, kind of like, what's that word? Psychosomatic a little bit. And, which is true. That's exactly what it was. I was anxious and I wasn't making it up, but like I was exhibiting crazy physical symptoms. And I think back to that. yeah, I think back to that, like it actually hurt. Like my stomach was hurting. I was nauseous. And as an adult, it's a lot better. But it's so interesting because now when my kids have symptoms or like things of that nature, I look at it so differently also. And I feel like now that we're like more open to these things, it's just like something I wanted to share with people. Yeah.
And you gua sha them, right? When they do it.
And I just started gua shaing my children, not to give them a snatched jaw. Because that's what everyone thinks a gua sha is for, until I came to you once and you were like, I'm going to gua sha you. And I'm like, yeah? Like, you're going to make my jaw look really good? And you were like, no, gua sha is not for that.
It's medical.
You're like, gua shas are medical.
I'm really glad you said that. Everything you just said, because, and this is what people should know, is that even if it's psychosomatic, if it's this nervous system dysregulation, it's going to show up in the body because the body's the messenger that something's wrong. And it's not always an anti-anxiety pill or,
and this is with me being medicated.
Right.
Like I am medicated and I also
you're still having your body needed tending. And in Western medicine, there wasn't a solution. Maybe some medications that would maybe suppress and Band-Aid.
Or also, emergency ones where you just take it to calm down that one.
In that moment.
Right.
Right. But when you treat the root cause, as we can in Eastern medicine, you can get to the root and help the person for the long term, but also give them acute relief in the moment.
Right.
Which is a gift.
Yeah. I usually pass out. I'm usually
in your
sleeping.
Treatments?
Yeah. I like 10 to 20 minutes in, I'm like, done. Best nap of my life. It's kind of like that like nap when like
Twilight.
You get like a surgery.
Mm-hmm.
But
it's
like without the surgical part.
Yeah, it's deep. People ask me what's in the needles. Sometimes they really believe it. Something's in the needles.
So crazy.
There's nothing.
My favorite thing is to walk around with like 5 needles in my body and like scare people a little bit. My kids are like, "Oh my God, what is that?" What other alternative medicines have you like not practiced, obviously, but been into or like wanted to experience?
Like other modalities outside of Chinese medicine.
Yeah.
I started with chiropractic, like as a patient, as a teenager. And so I explored chiropractic and a lot of vitamins and supplements. I did a lot of detox work.
Wow.
With various diets and cleanses. What else? Like things I've picked up along the way that I try to like bring in.
Incorporate.
Yeah.
Right.
Saunas.
I actually have a great question for you that I thought of on the way here.
Great.
My question is, if you could tell everyone 3 things based in Chinese medicine that you could incorporate into your daily life for just general wellness, what would they be?
Great question.
Thanks.
Okay. One is eat breakfast.
Early? Regular?
Eat it within a couple hours of waking.
Okay. Eat breakfast.
If I didn't emphasize that in class, my bad.
Okay.
But the digestive organs are at their prime between 7 and 11 a.m. So
I'm super into breakfast food.
You're good.
Yay me.
Breakfast is so important. Again, so your digestive organs are primed then to absorb that food. And we know breakfast really is the most important meal. It will regulate your mood, your hormones, your energy levels. It's a great way to start the day, grounded, because that's the earth element. I'm grounded. Okay. The second thing I would say is movement and stretching.
Okay. Gentle movement.
Gentle, but whatever works. But like, and everybody has different needs at different stages of their lives in terms of what they need for exercise. But like the Chinese have it as a part of their medicine and culture. They do tai chi, qigong, you may have heard of. These are meditative movements, which is helping the physical body, but it's very cool because they connect it to the meridians and the organs. So they're treating themselves through their movements.
Wow.
Yeah, it's very cool stuff. But I love yoga for people, stretching and movement. It will help you physically and mentally. Third thing would be meditation and time for yourself.
Ooh, I suck at that. I need to start meditating. I like go through phases with it. It's so hard. It's so hard to sit still.
Yeah, and I want to say like all of what I just said could be very hard for people. Yeah. People who are not used to taking care of themselves, people who are dysregulated, and
breakfast I got.
It's really hard.
The eating part I got.
Amazing.
The movement, okay.
And that's a big deal.
We're good. The meditation must work on. Must.
Having a quiet room in your soul. The Bhavavi said that.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Everyone needs to.
I better find it.
Okay. So he writes in one of his books, I think maybe the book Getting to Know Your Soul, he writes everyone should have a room inside themselves that no one can go into.
Wow.
It's just you.
That's amazing.
When I read that, I was like, I love this. Right? Especially if you're someone who feels better alone or safer alone, but you have to, or uncomfortable in social situations, maybe, right? There's always this room you can retreat to inside yourself. No one has to know about when you're in the room of people, but it's your safe space.
Right. And
you can only get to that space, I think, when you spend time alone with yourself.
When I was good at it, I wore noise canceling headphones. Should get back to that.
Great.
I got to get back to that. Note to self.
Yeah.
2026 resolution.
It's great. And he writes, the Bhavavi writes this, he writes about techniques you can use.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He writes that you should listen to music. You should, work on breathing. Whatever it takes to get you calm and comfortable is what you should do.
Wow.
So if blocking out the world with the headphones, do it.
Wow. Okay, great. So basically we have eat breakfast, movement, and meditation. Top 3. I thought you were going to say like something really crazy. I don't know.
Like moxa?
Yeah. Just
we
for fun.
We didn't explain what that was.
I don't know how to explain it. You're going to have to explain it to them. What is it? I don't even know what it is.
I wanted it to be things people could do at home.
Okay, fine.
And so that's what came to me.
Fine.
I can't tell them put a needle in,
Right. I was like thinking, is she about to tell us to like stick a needle in our forehead?
I can't do that, but you could massage this point here. It's called the yin tongue. It's the third eye.
You know what's also so crazy to me about acupuncture and just all of this is that it's so gentle, and I'm like such a like all or nothing type of person. So I could probably never be an acupuncturist because they would tell me like put the needle in and I would like, like it, and it's not like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I would be, like, aggressive.
I don't get that image from you.
I don't know. Like,
all.
I would put, like, you're just, like,
you just
so
be, like,
gentle.
One
like,
and done.
Like, nothing, and it's in.
Yeah. So you're saying you would have more heavy-handed with it, or?
I think so. Like, I just think about it, and I'm like, it's a good thing I'm not the one with the needles.
But you could be, because if you have a strong metal, you're very clear and precise. So you would be great.
Right. Okay.
Fine. You would be great at it, actually.
Also, I don't know how you remember all the points. That also.
It's years of memorizing.
That's wild.
You can't leave school without it.
Do they like test you at the end? They're like, tell us all the points?
Constantly testing us.
That's crazy.
Every semester you're learning other points. They're testing you by hand, like on paper and on the body.
Wow. I actually don't know if I know a lot of like from acupuncturists.
There's a handful of us.
Okay.
In this country.
And do you guys know each other?
We have a WhatsApp group now.
Oh, no way.
Someone started it.
And you guys share cases and stuff?
There might be 40-something people on it.
Wow.
We'll share cases. We'll ask each other questions. We'll refer to each other because when you're from, you have an understanding of the from world, and some people feel so really comfortable with that.
Right.
Having a practitioner who gets that. So, and then in Chinese herbal medicine, we have some cautious questions that come up. So we get to ask each other that as well.
Wow. That's
It's really
cool.
nice. Yeah.
Okay.
When I was in school, I was one of two when I started, I was New York City. So I was one of three in our school.
Wow.
Orthodox practitioners.
Does Chinese medicine mostly deal with physical symptoms, or they also talk a lot about like not physical symptoms, but like ailments, let's say? But is there a concept of, let's say, dealing with people who have, I'm trying to think of an example, like schizophrenia?
Yes, of course.
And what do they say?
We have like compendiums about mental illness in Chinese medicine.
Oh God.
And that's something we could talk about. No, mental illness was talked about for thousands of, all of it was talked about in 1000 BC.
I wonder when we got like so.
And you
like,
know how
quiet,
it was treated, but it wasn't called schizophrenia. So in our medicine, we'll call it blazing fire in the pericardium.
Okay. Did they ever find ways to actually heal them?
There was, yes. So the way we treat it, which is the genius of the medicine, is we go into the elements. So when a person is exhibiting some kind of extreme mental illness, let's say bipolar, schizophrenia, we're looking at what's going on in the body that's contributing to it. So too much heat or fire in the heart channel can cause mania, the manic aspect of bipolar. Like major depression is going to be a liver disorder. So we use herbs and acupuncture to get into that area. And we can see a lot of shifting, a lot of change. I had a schizophrenic patient once. That was her labeled diagnosis. It was very hard to treat her, but I was able to give her relief. Was she able to be unmedicated, or it was just like in conjunction? No, there are too many factors. Right. In terms of her, like, who was taking care of her home. Right. But she showed up and she was like I felt for her. Like she wanted so bad to be well. I feel like you're almost like a fusion between a doctor and a therapist. Yes, I am. You really are. Yeah. Because when you really think about it, aside from the obvious points that I would make, like, you spend a lot of time talking with the patient and like thinking about the emotions and the elements and the nervous system. And it's also so interesting because, like, how do you protect your own energy? Most doctors don't have that. Mm-hmm. They don't really have to protect their energy. They're just prescribing you something and hoping for the best. Mm-hmm. What a great question. Can I give you two answers? Because I feel you said two things here that I wanted to address. I want to start. Can I get to that question second? Yeah. Okay. Just remind me. Take it away. Well, I wanted to say something to what you pointed out about how a Chinese medicine practitioner can be both, it seems like a therapist and a doctor. Yeah. Because, and we talked about in the beginning about finding your balance. Chinese medicine is all about helping a person find their balance, get whole again. Not just about fixing a symptom. It does that and it's amazing. Right. It'll take your headache away. But the depth of the medicine and where it originates is about the whole person and their life, their journey. Right. And mind, body, soul. Yeah. And we are meant to take into consideration when we're working with a person, not just the symptom, not just the migraine. And of course, it's that patient's choice if they want that experience. Some people just come in like, please just fix my back pain. Like, that's enough for me, right. You know? And that's fine. But at the core, the medicine is about the whole person and helping them. We call it, let their heart be like, let the king sit on the throne, which is a still, calm heart, a balanced kingdom, the body, helping a person get to their calm and their agency, and fulfillment of their life. Right. So yeah, that will involve a lot of talking. Right. Okay. So I wanted to share that. And how do I protect myself? Because there's so much going on. Yeah. You're seeing so many aspects of every person that you see in a day. I feel like that can be extremely draining because you're this fusion. Yeah, it's a lot going on. Thank you for seeing that.
You're like, thank you. Yes, it is actually, in fact, very difficult.
It's something we work on as practitioners, and they even teach us about it. Like, so self-care is one, the quick answer, right? Obviously, I have to be well fed, hydrated, slept. Like, I have to take care of myself physically.
Firing on all cylinders.
Yeah, to stay clear. And then with the emotional piece and the energetics and the stories, the holding of it all, I've done a lot of work on that. So it's really a mindset that's helped me the most, which is to know, like, I'm in the room with this person for this amount of time. This is what I have. I'm going to give them my full presence, do everything I can to support them in this moment, knowing that Hashem is in control. Right. So I don't have to, keeping in mind all the moving pieces of this person's life, right, and the world's. But I give them my full, I strive for full presence in the moment with them. And when they leave, I don't hold it anymore. That's how I think I stay well, is like, I don't hold the people's stories and things. I'm fully present when they need me, as they need me, and then I let go.
You're able to compartmentalize.
I guess so. Yeah.
But also be present, which is very hard. Those are like almost opposites in a way, if you think about it. Compartmentalizing is something I'm really good at because I'm able to put things in boxes and not think about them. Okay. And it kind of helps that I'm less of an emotional human, because that makes it easier to separate. But you're very present. And so, like, a lot of times I even feel like you sometimes get emotional with your patients.
Yes.
So it's a hard balance. That's like really difficult. Like, not everyone can do that. 5 stars. 5-star rating. But they're really kind of opposite things. Like, I have an extremely hard time being present and emotionally present and like there.
It's work. I was not always like this. I was not always able to do it. It's constant work, and trying to explain it maybe a little bit.
Do you work with energy in Chinese medicine also? Is that part of it?
Yeah, I mean, that's also part of being like the water element, empath, like feeling everything. But working at Chinese medicine is working with what we call qi, which is the breath of life. It's an energy flow. It's an actual thing. So yeah, it's just learning how to hold it all, identifying and knowing the boundary also, where I begin and end, where this person begins, and offering them the respect and boundary of their space. Also having the knowledge that I'm able to go to certain places with a person and then come back contained. Right.
That's really interesting.
It's a combination of having the knowledge, the experience, what's going to happen with a certain word or a certain needle, and how to guide a person back, how to not take it personally, stay in the boundary, the trust piece, like trusting in what I know, trusting in the effectiveness of the medicine, trusting that they're here in this moment for a reason.
Have you found other connections between Judaism and Chinese medicine aside from the elements? Do you feel like there's any overlap of things where you're like, yeah, that makes sense. Like, we know that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm so glad you brought that up.
Okay.
So I'll tell you why. Because I get to bring my teacher into it. So what is it that the overlap? Bitachon. So the bitachon that we have, like that, yeah, that can happen. Like the trust that people use the word manifest. like this idea that anything is possible. I've learned that from Chinese medicine, because a person comes in with excruciating level 10 out of 10 back pain, and we can insert a needle in the hand. That pain goes down to a level 2 within seconds. How does that happen?
I mean, Hashem is amazing.
Hashem is amazing.
That's
he created
why
a body.
That's why I was saying before that whenever I look at the chart that's hanging in your office, maybe I'll put a picture of it. I'm always amazed at how we all have all of those points and all of those interactions in our bodies that are the same. I just think it's mind-blowing.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
And that's the overlap. It's, right. Your immediate response was, Hashem is amazing. Yeah. That's what happened to me. I saw this and I was like, whoa, like, this is incredible.
One teeny tiny needle.
So from working in the medicine, it has strengthened my bitachon, and for me, it's like, yeah, anything is possible. I see it all the time.
That's really cool.
A lived experience of it.
What would you say was your hardest case to date? A patient that you were like, I don't know if I can make this happen, and it happened.
And it happened.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, that's like all the time.
You're like, that's actually everybody.
I see that a lot with pregnancies.
Right. I actually was about to ask you if it's fertility related.
I would say that's where like you really don't know.
Right.
It's so not in our hands. And when people have experienced loss after loss, and sometimes from a medical perspective, physiologically, it's not what they teach you. The physical body picture should look like for a pregnancy. Right. Because there's certain things that medically should line up, or, a woman's hormones and constitution. And that's a lot of times where I'm like, I get so happy when it does work out. Because sometimes medically it's like
complex. I'm
unsure, can this body? And that just shows you how spiritual fertility and childbirth really is.
Yeah. I actually randomly went on your website the other day and I didn't know you were a doula.
I used to be.
A non-practicing doula.
I'm a non-practicing
That's
doula.
So that totally checks out though.
Yeah, thank you. I trained to be a doula when I was in medicine, when I was in Chinese medicine school, as like a way to earn money while I was in school. I didn't do a lot of it. I did about 20 births.
It's more than I've done.
And that was very cool. Really wonderful experience. But as I got busy with Chinese medicine,
it took over. Yeah.
It's too hard to stay up all night.
Yeah, that too. It's not easy. It ain't easy out there. Well, thank you so much for being here. I feel like you're like a wealth of information. I can ask you questions all day, but I will relieve you.
Thank you so much. This has been wonderful. I could talk too. It's a joy for me.
All right.